So here's the thing. If a conspiracy theorist who isn't extremely old and suffering from a notable natural medical condition, which bumps them off, kills them eventually, if that isn't the case, any other reason, any other person, if you're just simply unaware of their cancer or whatever the case may be, it must be a conspiracy. You mean if they have a heart condition which is hereditary, but they're unaware of the actuality of it, and they die and they're 22 or 32 or even 42, as soon as they pass, must have been the deep state. How does that work? Well, they were going to blow the lid off it, weren't they? Were they? Well, they said they were. They're also trying to sell a book and selling tickets and making a living, and they also perhaps believed in it and they're a bit out there, and they also happen to have perhaps a drug addiction or suffer from other issues as well, whatever the case. But no, ignore all of that and just simply say, well, deep state, yeah, or Illuminati, New World Order, whichever terms are popular in your community. Because these terms change over time. People use the word deep state nowadays. 10 years ago, people used to say New World Order all the time. But in any case, prove it. Well, it's such a perfect conspiracy, you can't prove it. Well, isn't that awfully convenient? You can't prove something that you claim to be true, but you want people to believe it because it must be a conspiracy, because someone was going to say something which might well have embarrassed someone somewhere somehow. But we don't know that because it's simply a claim made and something which was never proven. And therefore we should idolise this person who was a low-level conspiracy expert, conspiracy expert, whatever you wish to call them. And yeah, it's madness. What did they do? They did a bunch of videos, and some people resonated with that. They got a following of thousands. People like David Icke, they get a following of more like millions of people in some ways. Perhaps not millions upon millions of dedicated individuals, but hundreds of thousands of people who are very, very clear about this is somewhat true. This is, this seems to be closer to the truth than the media lets on. And yeah, a low-level operator like Max Spears, who seems to have died of a drug overdose. He fell off the wagon. He used to have a heroin addiction. After he injured himself in America, he went on opium-based drugs. The only way of really getting himself balanced out afterwards to get stuff illegally, basically in the UK. And as a result, yeah, he got into heroin. And he got himself clean. Good. He got himself sorted. He got on with his life. Became a conspiracy theorist because he had a paranoid streak. And eventually he went off the wagon again, and you could see that in his interviews. Came to notoriety there, see, it's all about, and sometimes he's more coherent, maybe he had taken a hit or something, I don't know, whatever drugs he was playing around with at the time, so apparently he was playing around with many different things based on his friends in Poland. But in any case, he's been idolised by some people, like some kind of little messiah. Imagine if the same thing happened to David like 20, 30 years ago. Or maybe not 30 years ago. It's about the time he had his awakening. But say 20 years ago, around the millennium. Or if Alex Jones, say about 15 years ago, because he kind of peaked at that point in some ways, say if he'd been bumped off. Well, not bumped off, but say if he had died from a heart attack. One of his periods where he was basically not working out very much, not living well, spending all his time going, there's going to be a nuclear attack in this country, a false flag operation, which is going to excuse World War III, all this nonsense. The invasion of China, back in like 2005, 2006, sometime like that. Imagine if he'd, died from, say, an aneurysm or something. People would be saying he was bumped off by the New World Order. People would be protesting about it. He'd become a character like idolised within the 9/11 movement, more so than he already was. That's the thing. You can create idols, you can create martyrs, even if they're not really martyrs. And that is the very real problem with the conspiracy theorist community.